Hey, what's up everyone? This is Silver Slayer. Thank you for tuning into this video. These are 3 reasons why silver can beat gold in 2020. A lot of people are looking into silver and looking at its high volatility, which also makes it an easier and more profitable investment compared to gold. The gold to silver ratio is still extremely high, meaning that gold is undervalued, or silver is undervalued and gold is overvalued. So for the ratios to correct back down to more natural prices, gold either has to depreciate or silver has to appreciate, and more than likely silver is going to be the one appreciating. So this article will be in the description if you want to check it out yourself. It was written today, January 8th, 2020, so it's fresh off the press. So let's jump into it. Now that gold has rallied to multi-year highs, it's time for silver to follow suit. 3 factors that may propel the gray metal higher in 2020. So they're saying that gold already has, rallied. It already had its time. And anytime you do want to look at where silver prices are headed, since silver is gold's little brother, usually silver follows suit a couple weeks, a couple months afterwards. So they're saying that that's what's going to be happening. So let's jump into this. Silver is undervalued when you look at the gold to silver ratio, which now stands at a staggering 86-1. Which means it takes 86 ounces of silver to equal 1 ounce of gold, which is actually crazy because in the 30s, FDR changed the ratio from 16-1 to 75-1. Not 60, I said 16. He manipulated the price. I made a video about that yesterday if you want to dive deeper into that. But anyways, JP Morgan has been manipulating the markets, and 2020 will be the year for more of its top-level employees that are convicted. So they're saying that since this manipulation is going on, as their employees are getting, or as their company is getting under fire, hopefully this manipulation, this controlling over silver prices, keeping it in a bubble, will pop, and now the prices will be able to explode or rise to more natural levels. And also, as countries around the world make efforts to stimulate growth in manufacturing, demand for silver could skyrocket, which is definitely true, especially since silver is used so widely in the industrial and technological world. So, recent geopolitical turmoil between the United States and Iran has sent gold price soaring. Silver has yet to follow suit and remains below September 2019 highs. Silver has been consolidating for several years and remains well below all-time highs of roughly $50 per ounce. And actually, silver's been $50 twice in the last 30 years. So, here it goes into the gold to silver ratio points to undervaluation. Due to strong rally in gold's price, the gold to silver ratio has seen a significant spike recently. Now the ratio stands at a staggering 86-1. This means it takes 86 ounces of silver to buy 1 ounce of gold. And it's actually crazy to think about. The ratio used to be 1-1. 1 ounce of silver, 1 ounce of gold. Or back then it wasn't in ounces. It would be like 1 part silver equals 1 part gold. Then it actually went to 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. And that's when the ratio started to actually get screwed, or get manipulated. But anyways, so the ratio comparing the 2 precious metals looks overstretched. Historically, whenever the ratio spikes, it's followed by a retracement back to its average levels. Over the last 20 years, the ratio, or the average level, has been around 60-1. So 60-1 is the average level. So this retracement is a time-tested indicator and was seen in previous centuries as well. For instance, in 1942, when the ratio stood at 97-1, it quickly declined to 43-1 by 1946, so in 4 years. By 1968, the ratio has fallen to 18-1. So they're saying that even if it does go extremely high, it usually falls, but we're seeing this stretch out, and it's due time. It's definitely due time. So when the ratio retraces once again in the future, it will coincide with silver, a spike in silver prices. So that's definitely interesting. The gold to silver ratio is an easiest way to see which is the better investment, either gold or silver at the moment or at that point in time. And right now, silver is definitely the undervalued and the more highly potential metal. So now we're going to be going into JP Morgan's rigging days are going to be ending soon. JP Morgan, the Dutch Bank, and Merrill Lynch, all accused of spoofing, placing false buy orders on these exchanges, and then canceling the orders before they actually go through. It's a punishable crime now. They're cracking down. 3 of their employees already did get arrested last year, and I'm definitely excited for this because this is definitely a huge factor in what's keeping silver prices modestly lower. So let's jump into this part. So JP Morgan has faced accusations of manipulating the bullion markets in the past. Since 2011, the bank has hoarded a staggering 350 million ounces of silver, which accounts for about 38% of the world's production. It's way more than their officially reported figure of 50 million ounces, according to legendary precious metals analyst Ted Butler. So here you can see a chart of that. This is their depository. So you can see as it's rising. And at the same time, the bank held the largest short position in silver futures markets. So it has suppressed the silver price with access to unlimited free money, as Ted Butler claims. And here's a video on it. So recently, many of JP Morgan's top-level employees were charged with spoofing the bullion markets. Some pleaded guilty as well, but the investigations are still ongoing. So I'm sure more, three people already got arrested, but I'm sure more are going to. You can expect more convictions from the DOJ in 2020 as fraud unfolds. The eventual expose will enable the supply-demand balance to restore to its natural levels, thereby pushing silver prices higher. And it's a really good point, because supply and demand is definitely one of the fundamental motivators or price movers that would be affecting prices or influencing prices to these levels that we're talking about, like $50 silver. I mean, the balance is definitely off, and that's also what's really important to talk about. So here we're going into the shortage, the silver shortage, which will drive prices to new highs. So we've talked about silver shortages. Production has been being cut back by the hundreds of millions of ounces over the last 7 years. Mexico, Peru, Chile, Australia have been abandoning silver mines as it's not profitable. So that's kind of a summary of what's going on. But silver's use is directly proportional to growth in the production of technological devices. The precious metal is used in production of CDs, calculators, catalytic converters, RFID chips, mobile phone batteries, more. I mean, it goes solar equipment, dental alloys, space equipment. It's used for medical paint. There's colloidal silver, there's silver nanoparticles, mirrors, cameras, everything. So as the world becomes more tech savvy, demand is only going to rise with it. Most of the world's mined silver is dumped as garbage, and it's more expensive to extract it from the dump than mine out of the Earth's crust. And that's an interesting point, because you think about a lot of silver is lost. I mean, gold, a lot of gold is recycled and restored. Think of a gold chain, gold necklace, gold jewelry, whatever the case is. It's remelted, it's rescrapped, because it's profitable to do that. You're going to take your your grandma's jewelry to the pawn shop, whatever the case is. But with silver, on the other hand, since it's used so much in technology, people aren't extracting the silver back out of those cameras and the cell phones and all that stuff. So a lot of silver is lost as a lot of gold is recovered. So in comparison, 98% of gold mined throughout history is mankind is still in existence in some shape or form. 98% is still being recycled and reused, where most of silver is being lost. So here's the chart of the top silver producers: Mexico, Australia, Bolivia, Argentina, Chile, like I've mentioned already. But the decline will eventually cause a crunch, given that global demand for silver keeps rising. And this is obviously, given that demand is going to keep rising. Silver demand is at all-time highs, especially as prices get higher, especially as industrial needs. We're going into the digital age. I mean, look at electric vehicles, EVs. We're going to need a lot of silver for that, as silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity. So, I mean, this is silver industrial demand near record highs, and you can see we are definitely at the top of the peak. As central banks and the ultra-rich load up on gold, another precious metal is being ignored. The next major silver bull market could be on the horizon. So, I definitely agree with this article. I think they made some really good points. I definitely think that these are some of the main reasons why silver is undervalued compared to gold, whether it's the gold to silver ratio, the shortage, or the manipulation. It's a very, very, very good article. Hopefully you guys were able to follow along with me as I kind of summarized the main points, because this was definitely spot on. And this is why you need silver. It's not only just because it's the dollar's collapsing or the geopolitical fear or the Iran tensions, but it's also a preservation against your wealth. You're preserving your wealth against inflation. As the dollar's collapsing, it also has potential to rise as well. It's definitely the most or the safest, smartest alternative to the dollar, opposing from stocks and other alleyways that are still pegged to the dollar. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, because I do post daily videos. I'll probably post 1 or 2 more videos a day, so stay tuned for those as well. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Like I said, the link to this article will be in the description. This was Silver Slayer. I will see you guys soon. Peace.